If I had £1 for every time somebody said to me, just can't do it perfectly, and then I had responded with something like this that I'm about to share with you, I would not be recording this right now. I would be sat on a desert island somewhere, scuba diving to my heart's content. This crops up so much, and this will be a measure of whether you are successful or not. So pay attention. This is the difference between consistency and perfection, the pursuit of perfection. Thinking that if we can't do something perfectly, then we shouldn't do it at all. And that is absolute tosh. And that is an attitude that is an absolute recipe for burnout, which frankly, I don't think you want. Let's break this down. When you focus on being perfect, it creates a huge amount of pressure on yourself. You might set really unrealistic expectations of yourself, like hitting the gym 5 days a week or preparing, meals every night from scratch. Let's be honest, those things are just not going to happen. You've just set unrealistic expectations. Now, hopefully, we have set you some realistic expectations. Now, that doesn't mean that little perfection monster isn't still running around your head. So pay attention. Let's get into this. The pressure you can put yourself under by wanting to be perfect can lead to stress. It can lead to anxiety. It can make it really bloody difficult to enjoy the process, and it makes it totally and utterly unsustainable. When every little setback feels like a massive failure, it's so easy to feel overwhelmed. Now, if you break the day into quarters like I've previously talked about, this can help massively. But as I said, over time, chasing perfection will lead you to burnout. And I don't want that for you. And I know you don't want that for yourself either. You might start strong, because we always start strong. We always start motivated. We always start buzzing. But eventually, that constant pressure to be perfect, I can guarantee it will lead to you throwing in the towel entirely. And I just want you to think back to other scenarios where you have been on, it might be fat loss, it might be trying to get fitter, it might be something that's work related. But if you've ever thrown in the towel, I want you to just ask yourself, God, was I trying to be perfect as I was doing it? The answer is probably yes. And that is probably the reason that you chucked in the towel. Remember, no one is perfect. Everyone has ups and downs, and that is totally and utterly normal. So please, for goodness sake, stop beating yourself up if you're not perfect, because perfection does not exist. For those that can't hear me at the back, perfection does not exist. Instead, let's think about and let's talk about the power of consistency. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up for yourself regularly and making those small changes that fit into your lifestyle. This consistency means sustainable progress. Small, consistent efforts, they add up over time, and you do move forward with them and make tremendous gains. You don't need to overhaul your entire routine overnight. In fact, I would strongly advise against it, because trying to overhaul everything overnight is you leaning towards perfectionism. And what happens when you do that? You chuck in the towel. So those small, consistent efforts will lead to sustainable progress for you. Focus on those manageable changes that you can do on the regular, that you can stick with over time. It's really important as well in terms of building habits. And ultimately, this is what this is all about. It's about changing and building new habits that enable you to live your best life. And consistency helps you build those habits. When you commit to showing up, even on the days when you're not feeling at your best, but you're going to get it done, it reinforces those positive behaviours. Celebrate the small wins. Every small victory absolutely matters, and I'm going to be there celebrating those small wins with you. There might be an obligatory high five. I apologise in advance. Whether it's completing a workout, whether it's preparing a healthy meal, whether it's getting your breakfast prepped for the next day, whether it's putting a glass of water down next to your meal and taking small sips as you're eating, whether it is remembering to put your phone down at 9 p.m. and not picking it up again. All of these small things matter. All of these small wins are really important, and you should celebrate each of them each day or when you complete them. Celebrating small wins. Every small win absolutely matters. You might think it's inconsequential, but it's really not. And you should give yourself a massive pat on the back for them. That could be completing a workout, that could be preparing a healthy meal, that could be getting the meal planning done, that could be doing the weekly shop, it could be prepping your breakfast for the next day, it could be lying your clothes out for a training session early the next morning, it could be making sure that you've got all of your steps in for the day, even though you didn't want to because it was pissing down with rain in the evening, but you got it done anyway. Fan-bloody-tastic. Celebrate every single one of those small wins. They add up and they create momentum. And once you have created momentum, motivation starts to kick in and it gives you a following wind. So next time you find yourself striving for perfection, remember, it's actually all about consistency over perfection. Perfection is not going to happen. Focus on showing up, focus on making small changes, focus on embracing the journey. As cliched as that sounds, please do. It makes a world of difference. And rather than focusing on the things that went wrong and therefore the things that were not perfect, because remember, that does not exist, focus on the things that went right. Celebrate those. And I'm sure on average, there are more of those in a week than there are the things that went wrong. Remember, perfection doesn't exist. It's all about consistency. So get ticking those everyday tasks off. It will build momentum. You will get a following wind and you'll start to really believe that you can do this, because I know you can.